Number 5 gives you this graph and it wants you to write the equation. So in your Google form, you're going to have to type in what your slope is and what your y-intercept is, okay? Remember, your slope in any form, slope is always the change in your y's divided by the change in your x's, okay? On a graph, you can visually see that by looking at your rise, how far up or down your y values are from each other, and then your run, how far over you have to go between your points, okay? You can use these two, or you can find two new pretty points. I would just use these two, okay? So from this point, oops, sorry, I went too far, to this point, ignore this part, okay? Or you could have gone down, I just wrote there, okay? It says, all right, number 5 gives you this graph and says you need to write an equation, okay? Remember, when you write an equation, this one's not going through the origin, so it's non-proportional, meaning it's going to have a y-intercept. So we're writing an equation in the form of y equals mx plus b, okay? So you need to solve for your slope, your m, and for your y-intercept, your b. Okay, y-intercept is always really easy on a graph. It's where it hits the y-axis. Okay, so you're looking at what number about are we crossing it on the y-axis. Okay, your slope, you have multiple ways to solve for this. Okay, so for slope, you're looking for the change in your y's divided by the change in your x's. So on a graph, that can look like your rise over run, how far apart vertically they are divided by how far apart horizontally across their x's, okay? You could also do your slope, okay, equation, which would have your y2 minus y1 divided by your x2 minus x1, okay? So if your points are x, y, x, y, you would take your y2, subtract your y1, then divide that number by your x2 minus your x1, okay? So you decide. You can either count the distance for your rise divided by run, how far up and over you have to go between points, okay? Oop, not quite far enough. All right, and you're gonna have to use their ordered pairs to tell you where they stop. This one stops at -4.5, okay? Or you can use your slope intercept form, equation, I'm sorry. All right, whichever way you feel most comfortable, go for it. If you still need help, please ask your group or ask me for help.